Hello Pioneers, in the last episode of our Satisfactory series, we redesigned our coal power plant with a modular layout and doubled our power output. This episode, we focus on blueprinting and modular factory design, crafting blueprints for smelters and constructors, and testing the concept by rebuilding our concrete manufacturing. Let's get into it. Welcome back. With our power now extended to 1200 megawatts of usable power, we can start looking at expanding our factory to build the next things that we need. And the next things that we need are to complete the space elevator phase 2, as well as start working on all the high advanced steel products. Now, I was starting to do the calculations similarly the way I was doing it the other episode for my steel products, as you can see over here. And I'm like, all right, well, if we need versatile framework, automated wiring, we need one of these, work backwards and see how many assemblers we need for all the intermediary products, how many constructors, how many foundries can support a Mark III belt and whatnot. Unfortunately, halfway through these calculations, I realized something like motors is gonna now need a lot of rotors, which means we're also gonna need to extend all of our iron production as well. And then I was like, well, if we need 10 rotors, then we need another 4 rotor assemblers, which then downstream impacts backwards all the way through our entire iron production chain, all the way back to iron smelting. And in fact, we would have to upgrade our iron smelting now to be able to support Mark III belts and the Mark II miner. But like, the way I'm thinking about it is that going to happen every time I unlock a new tier? Like, how many tiers, how many marks of belts even exist up to phase, whatever, like tier 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, right? Is it like, is Mark III like the highest mark of logistics? Is this my final factory size? Or is there like Mark 4, 5, 6, 7? It's an important question because I don't want to have to like tear down my factory every time I increase one logistics level, right? Because at the moment, my factory, the way it's sized and everything, supports Mark II. It's like 4 Mark II smelters for a full Mark II belt of iron. But Mark III can support, 8 plus 1 more. So like 9 smelters, which, it can't even fit in this area, right? And I might need 2 Mark III belts of iron. So it's like, do I have to change my design? And then like, what's Mark IV? Is there a Mark IV, and is Mark IV like slightly more than double that? And then I have to double up my factory again. The way I've designed my factory in essence is not extensible. So what I'm thinking is it's time for a major factory redesign. And it's good that we're doing this because, and this is why I didn't put up all the walls on this factory either, because that would just be like 10 times more things I need to like now tear down. But we got to change the factory design to be a little bit more extensible. So what I want to do is not just build my factory now to the specs of a Mark III belt, but I want to start, because we have blueprints as well to make building a lot easier. It's time to start using those blueprints and setting up some buildings that can be extended upon in the future. So say when I go from Mark III to Mark IV belts or Mark IV to Mark V belts, I don't need to tear down an entire building that only fits enough machines for Mark III. I should just be somehow able to modularly add another section to my factory such that that we can just now then upgrade the belts, and all of a sudden we're now producing at the rate of a Mark whatever logistics that we happen to be at. I think that's a clever idea. It is going to be a major factory redesign, and that's what we're probably going to be doing for the next few episodes. But before we start out that major factory redesign, I probably just want to move my concrete over and start producing encased beams somewhere. Because do I want to even do that? Or do I just want to... No, what I want to do is temporarily set up something that makes encased beams, because while I'm talking and trying to plan and do my blueprints and stuff, I want a pile of encased beams to work with, and I don't want to set up the factory to do that. I just want something that does that for now. I think 1 assembler should be more than enough, and I'll just set up like 2 boxes. Put a storage container on each side, and we'll just chuck some belts into here. You, my friend, will make me some encased industrial beams, and I'm just going to go grab my concrete from down here. And then we're going to get to work. I kind of like where we are for building the central factory, so I might continue building the central factory here for this stuff, and then eventually we'll tear it down. We'll just start using this next section over here. Like, I think this will be fine. And we're going to run into the ore at some point. It's kind of annoying. We could always also use verticality and start building our new factory just like up in the sky if we really wanted to. Or we can look at moving our factory like up there maybe, because all the ore is like down here. A lot of different options. I mean, if the mines are here, then like at the very least, my factory, if I need to use this middle section, which is quite a large section, should be like starting above the mines, I think is a good idea. I think the idea of building a factory up in the sky is probably a good idea so you don't run into terrain issues. And that's why I'm thinking like maybe we start all the way up there where I'm pointing right now and start a brand new factory up there. But before starting anything new, let's just get these encased beams going, because we're going to need these encased beams for various tier 3 miners and stuff. If we're going to, sorry, miner Mark 2s, in case we want to upgrade all of these miners. Well, not in case we want to upgrade all of these miners. We know we definitely need to upgrade all of these miners. There's no ifs, ums, or buts about that. Did I not get the concrete, or has it just not made any concrete? Have I just gone insane? Did I just like speak all this time, get distracted, and not grab concrete? No, I didn't grab all the concrete. Alright, cool. So I grabbed all the concrete. I'm just going to chuck it in there. It's going to make some encased steel beams while we start playing around with some blueprints and things like that. We might even do some like minor exploring before we start our fight. Well, our factory design is no longer going to be specific to what we're trying to make. We can't make our factory specific to what we're trying to make, because even recipes themselves in this game change over time, you know? So we definitely can't do that. We need to make everything generic and modular and extensible. So we'll have to figure all that out. We're gonna have to use our brains, unfortunately, and do all that. So we're gonna put some storage over here. And then we're going to give it some power. That's what I also love about this game, because I'm playing this blind, so there's no sort of like, oh, I know what's coming next and I'm going to build my factory to that. I'm building what makes sense to me at the time. And at the time, I needed that Mark II factory to function, to get me the volumes, to get to the unlocks, to now get to Mark III. And now that I'm at Mark III, my natural instinct was just to go, all right, well, let's build a factory the size of Mark III to build all these specific intermediary products. But then I thought to myself, wow, our Mark II factory is so massive. Our Mark III factory is going to be double this size. And then what happens when we get Mark IV? I don't want to be tearing down that crap. So yeah. And the other thing you'll notice is there's a brand new belt just kind of clipping through the floor at the moment. Whoop, over here. And it's just going straight into here because I realized my smart plating is completely blocked. And it's like, why, if we're going to make smart plating and it's not going anywhere, it's not being used for anything, it might as well get us some fix-it coupons, right? And I think that's a good idea. So we're doing that. It's going straight into the awesome sink. We're going to grab some of these fix-it coupons. Let's print me my 15 coupons. And we're going to go over here and we're going to buy some stuff that might help us with our new modular layout and blueprinting and all that fun stuff. Now, factory carts, probably not this sort of stuff, but definitely some of the management stuff. We want to make sure we have all of this. Pipeline, wall, and hole attachments, not that useful. Signs, tempting, yeah. Billboards, probably not billboards, but definitely some signs to tell us what's being produced and whatnot. Some lights are unavailable. That's something I want. I really want indoor lighting before I start blueprinting. And then paint. There we go. We want some different paint materials, and I'd love to be able to see this before I buy it, because it kind of sucks if I buy this and then I can't use it, right? Like, yeah, copper finish, grip metal, asphalt concrete, coated concrete. That sounds nice, but it's unavailable. What's a really nice like factory floor material? Glass roof material. All my glass is all unavailable as well. I wish I could have glass. Okay, the floor sets are pretty cool. I don't think I need any of those right now. Windows. Well, I don't have glass, but I have windows available. I like these idea of these steel frame windows and these regular windows. Let's go with the steel framed windows. Because they require silica to make. All right, that's fine. We can start putting some silica Then we'd have to get all the quartz in. Okay, fair enough. Let's add that to cart, and then we can think about how we're going to do that. And then in architecture, I don't know if these are going to be useful. The pillars, definitely. Structural beam supports, is that just decorative? Frame foundations and frame walls. I'm not sure what of this is useful. Pillars, roofs, like what's the difference between a roof and another floor? Like, this is the pattern on it. Okay. Equipment, nothing's useful in equipment or parts. But yeah, let's use some different finishes. Carbon finished steel and unfinished paint. Once you get oil processing, you get some more different types of materials. Grip metal foundation. Concrete foundation. I want some like flooring on my floor that's like different to normal floor. I mean, this is so expensive. It must be good, right? Carbon steel finish. Let's spend 8 on that. Treat ourselves every now and then. We'll buy that. At least we have a different color finish, right?
Fixit is not responsible for personal damage, environmental damage, psychological damage, or lowered standards that may result from use of these products. Enjoy your purchase.
Carbon finish. Is that for the wall or is that for the floor? Let's put one corner as carbon. Oh, you can paint these as well. So they're not yellow anymore? Okay. That made no difference to my floor. I'm very disappointed. What a waste of 8. It still keeps that same pattern. So I probably want the different foundation more than that, right? Because the asphalt foundation is what I got. Concrete foundation and grip material foundation. Let's add some different foundations. This looks very similar. I kind of really want this finish foundation over here. So, okay, maybe we won't focus on this because it tells me how to unlock this. Oil processing, and it's in tier 5, which we're not there yet. So we can't get this beautiful shiny finish. So we'll leave that for now. So what we'll do is we'll continue using our stuff and we'll have a look at when we can get windows as well. Maybe it'll tell me. I can already get these windows, but I can't get the window finish. Caterium paint finish. Okay, that's not what I want. Okay, I think I have everything that I want. The silica makes the windows that I want, so I think it's enough for us to start blueprinting our factory. We grab some more steel and things like that. Look how much steel I have and some encased concrete that we do have. And let me just check this encased concrete machine is indeed working. I believe it is. It is green. Yeah, that'll slowly make us encased concrete that whenever we need. Is it called encased concrete? I don't want to keep calling it the wrong thing. Encased beams. We'll call it encased beams. So yeah, now we need to start blueprinting stuff to figure out how we're going to build our factory. And we'll do a few test things and see how it goes. So let's chuck a blueprint designer somewhere. Doesn't really matter where. Why is the floor is like too tilted for a blueprint designer and I don't have concrete or modular frames. Okay. Look for a nice flat surface to do my blueprinting on. Over here maybe. So what I'm thinking is, first of all, let's just do a factory section. And if 4x4 is what I have to work with, I'm thinking, why not make this a corner? And then we'll test if it works, right? Alright, so say this is a corner of my factory. Then I can start building my walls. It'll just be one floor of a factory, and then I should be able to build it such that I can tile it on top of one another, right? What I mean by that is I will build it like this. So this is like a corner of the factory. It's rotatable, and it should be all good. And I can build a wall if I want to. I mean, I can build a roof if I want to, but then if I build a roof, it's not really tileable because once I put one on top of the other, it's gonna be like double layered, right? I don't want it to be double layered. So I'm thinking this is the blueprint, just like exactly this. And let's go test it out. I'll call this factory room corner 4x4. And if we use the icon for foundation, is there only one icon ever? That's it, right? We can save that blueprint because we can't build our entire factory in a 4x4 box. So we have to build our factory as like modular Lego parts, basically. And say we want our new factory, like we don't want to start our factories in like the lowest level because we're just going to hit terrain. So say we start our factory here, then if like, let's just start on top of one of these, the highest rock, right? If I snap something to the world grid, like say here and here, so this is on the world grid, it should align to everything. And if say I start my factory, my real factory from not this tile, but from like this tile, damn, wait, let me build on top of this rock while I'm standing on it, which is a little bit awkward. There we go. So say this is the start of my factory. Everything else beneath it is either subfloor or we use pillars to support it or whatever we do, right? I think this is a pretty good place to start a factory. I can see I can build north, south, east, west in any direction. I can chop down these trees. Don't worry about the trees. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good area to like start a factory. And I want to use my blueprints, which is on my blueprint bar. And this is going to be my first blueprint, factory corner room 4x4, whatever. And it does snap perfectly to this. Nice. And I can rotate it and I go, this is the start of my factory. Beautiful. It snaps exactly to where I want it to snap to. And then I can build that, and then I can build another section here. It's a little bit difficult because it's a little bit big for me to like figure out, is it perfectly snapped correctly? Let's get the rotation right. And then we'll align the floors. Again, we can use the hologram mode, right? If it's like too difficult. I can go hologram and then, yeah, just check that it's all correct. But then boom, this is like a very easy way to build an entire floor of my factory. And it's like super quick. So that definitely works. And then boom, we've got our 4 corners of our factory. And I mean, my blueprint can have the real amount of walls as well. Like it doesn't need to be just like the corner of walls. So we can definitely build it like this. The corner is like so hard to snap into. We'll just like snap it and then move it via hologram. Oh no, it's like the nudge exceeds the maximum distance. What? So yeah, we can do something like this, right? This is pretty cool. I like that. Like the thing is, I can't build my final factory sections either because I still don't have access to infinite windows. So what I'd really like to do is like a row of windows and then a row of walls and a row of windows and a row of walls. That way we have some natural light in our factory and also lights as well. We don't have lights in our factory. So let's not worry about the factory decoration too much. Let's just play with, this is the size of a standard factory section, right? And if this is the size of the standard factory section, next we need to talk about factory functionality and extensibility into the future. So for example, we want to build everything to the specs of a 4x4 tile. But let's talk about like smelting, for example. So if we put down a bunch of smelters and we go, all right, say this is how many smelters are required for Mark II belts, right? And then we go, all right, now we've upgraded to Mark III. We want to just be able to keep tiling smelters infinitely in one direction to just continuously expand forever. So we'll build right now to the specs of a Mark III belt. And then if we need a second one, we should be able to just build a second one. And then, yeah, it should just work, right? In theory. So we can build a bunch of smelters. This will be like our smelting room, for example. And we should just have to keep building smelters along here. I can go like, I want it sounds like we'll probably want 2 Mark III belts of iron. So we can do like 2 belts of iron, 1 belt of coal, a belt of concrete, no, sorry, 2 belts of iron, 1 belt of copper, a belt of concrete, a belt of quartz, and like sulfur, for example. And then that'll be like our main bus of raw materials. And we'll leave room to continuously expand, say like in this direction to increase the size of our factory. I think that's a fantastic idea. And we'll start building to those specs now, and we'll see how far we get before we run into a design issue. So let's go back to our blueprint box now. And next I want to test, like if I leave the floor of my blueprint box intact and then I build some machines and then I build the floor, is that okay, or should I remove the floor? All right, let's start with smelters. Let's see how many smelters can fit into a 4x4 section. Can't do that. But then like, say I put a hologram here, I need some room to deal with stuff. Right? Because because I want the blueprint to be obviously saved without the floor in. So like say I build to 4, like if I build to the specs of a Mark 1 belt, like 4 smelters, for example, then if I save this blueprint, now how does this play with the other blueprint that we put down earlier? Does it put another layer of floor on? Yeah, it does. And we don't want necessarily a second layer of floor. So we need to build to the floor, but then remove the floor, I guess, is what I'm thinking. So now if we remove the floor, will it let me save the blueprint and everything will be fine? Actually, I don't want to remove the floor for now because I actually need it to build this blueprint. Let's finish building the blueprint, and I think I'm pretty sure what I have in my head is going to be okay. So what I mean is I want to build the smelters. Now I know all smelters, their material is going to come through the subfloor. So I'm going to build this all 1 level up like this. Is this how 1 level looks? Could our subfloor maybe just not be terrible and be 2 levels in case? Oh, wait, 1 level can be reserved for walking. So we have to build our blueprint to whatever specs, and then we need to figure out, like, how am I even meant to get up there? I can't build any more out of the blueprint. So I just have to build, like, a scaffolding thing around. Is that like a lookout tower I can just use? Just, like, build a lookout tower here, and just, like, climb it and get up. Yeah, so basically here, and then if I build my smelters, something like this, and we're only going to build a spec it for 4 smelters, and this hopefully is like the last time we ever need to do this, right? So let's build it from the center of a blueprint in case for some reason the tiling and position within a blueprint actually matters. Something like that, and I want it to overhang the edge, something like this. And then we want to be as tight as possible because if we're going to support like a Mark 10 belt one day, we're going to need 3 billion smelters, so we don't need any space in between the smelters. So this is perfectly symmetrical, which is nice. Then we want it to go through the floor. So I know we'll use my like catwalk design, right? And can I even put my catwalk design here is the other question. I can. Fantastic. Get to the end. This part is not important because I'm going to delete the floor anyway. So let's just do something like that. No, not like that. What am I doing? Let's just get to the catwalk. I like this catwalk design. I think I'm going to stick with it for the rest of my projects. Okay. So what I mean is now part of my blueprint, I want it to be the actual all of these things because that's the point, right? We don't want to bloody build all this over and over again. And I'm going to build it with Mark 3. Oh, is that smart to build it with Mark 3? It's going to burn through all my steel plates. But a smelter can only ever smelt 30. So theoretically, it should be Mark 1. Oh, man. Alright, let's just do it to Mark 1 then. Is that smart to do? Because then when I need to upgrade everything needs to upgrade. What if I have... Is there going to be a smelter Mark 2 that can smelt this faster? At maximum production rate, it's going to be 30 times 2.5. Like, what if I have infinite these things and infinite power one day and I just want to overclock all my smelters, right? So what's 30 times 2.5? Now I'm starting to like think into the future. So that's above a Mark 1. So we'll build the lifts at Mark 2 spec. I need a lot more reinforced iron plate for my blueprinting. I hope this really works out the way I think it does because it will save us a lot of time in building. And it will allow me to build in the way that I want. Oh, my reinforced iron plates are full. Let's get rid of some and get ourselves some more stuff. Might as well just give it some iron plates as well, right? Have all the iron plates. It's not going to take long for it to like rebuild all the iron plates. So I want to get some of the cosmetic stuff eventually and really make like a nice looking factory as well as a functional factory. They should have put ladders on each corner of the blueprint box. I guess they like, you'll probably get like a jetpack soon and none of this will be an issue one day, but it's kind of annoying right now when you don't. Everything's kind of annoying before you have your jetpack. All right. So Mark II lifts to get everything in. And then we're going to build to the specs that everything coming out of a smelter will probably, like, if I'm thinking about it, will go upwards, over, and out somewhere. It probably needs to go above itself. So let's build to the specs of I think 3 level tall factories are good. They've worked out nicely for me. So like that. And then that is how tall my factory is. I'm just using the wall as the roof as a guide. It's not going to be part of the blueprint. And again, if it outputs at a Mark II pace one day fully overclocked, then we want everything to be done at a Mark II conveyor lift. Perspective, is that looking right? It is, but it's clipping onto itself, so I don't like that it's facing that direction. So let's just face it outwards. We don't need to conserve that much space. Fine. Then we can build our splitters. Oh, sorry, our mergers. They're mergers, right? Trying to get the right thing. Yep, merger, 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 merger. And we're going to build to our Mark III logistics now, because it's going to definitely be Mark III, right? Great. And then that's going to come out. And so when we build blueprint to blueprint, we just need to make sure we connect the 2 sections. Now, can it come out with the cables as well? That would be fantastic. Then I don't have to worry about power either. What I mean by that is, can I build that as part of the blueprint? And then that'll just connect itself into the ceiling one day. And if that's the case, then I don't need to build these into the centers of 2 roof bits. I just need to build directly upwards, right? Like that. And that. And that. And we'll connect them. And then we don't ever have to do powering either. That'll be like super handy if this can be saved as part of the blueprint, because it'll just be in midair. Like if I delete this, will these things just hang in midair like flying baubles? But yeah, that's it. This is the output. Now we'll do the input the same way. So we get splitters, and we get splitters like, let's just assume the input comes from the opposite direction of the output, right? Because why would the input, like I'm just thinking, if the output is going that way, why would the input come from like this direction? The input should come from all one side, like the entrance, the material entrance to our factory, right? Because one day the input's all going to be coming via, say, like train or drones or whatever logistics things exist in this game. It's all going to be like some station, like a truck stop station or a train station or a drone station or, I don't know, a teleporting station. It's all going to be coming from one building. So everything should just go in one direction. And again, the input needs to be at Mark III level. So let's build it to Mark III specs. And then that should be sweet. That's the input, that's the output. And that's pretty much our entire blueprint, guys. And we can go test it out. And if we won't delete everything, because if we've forgotten something in the blueprint, I don't want to have to like rebuild it all. It's like we're starting the game all over again from smelting. Okay, let's start dismantling the parts of the factory that won't be part of the blueprint, which is basically all this flooring. See how my blueprint now hangs in midair? Now, I wonder if that's like okay. Only this blueprint's going to do this because like the constructor blueprint is just going to be for constructors, right? It's not going to hang in midair. All right, that's it. That's everything I want to keep in my blueprint. And it does keep the power bits as well. So that's fantastic. And that's our blueprint. And now hopefully we never have to build a smelter section ever again manually. And we can just use this. Let's test my theory. We'll call it smelter. Ah, man, it's a smelter. 4 smelters. Smelter 4x. I don't know. We'll give it a smelter icon, and yeah, it can be blue. I don't know. I don't know what any of these conventions mean to me yet. How do I delete blueprints? I mean, I can clear the blueprint designer, which I don't want to do. I can load an existing blueprint. Okay, so I can't clear it and then load it. It's fine. But how do I delete existing blueprints? The blueprint designer doesn't have anything in there. The blueprints thing plus add to to-do list. No, I don't want to edit to-do list. I don't want this. Oh, whatever. How do I get rid of that? Edit. Is it edit? Floor 4x4. Settings. Remove blueprint. Yes. Smelter test. This is a very, very convoluted deletion thing. All right, it's fine. So that's my 1, that's my 2, right? That's my 1. Fantastic. Let's go over and test if any of that has worked. Okay, we're on our new factory floor, and yeah, cool. So the blueprint box is there, and if I were to place this here, it would kind of register that it's on the floor, but I don't want to place it here. Now it's too high. How do I shift it downwards? If I did it in mid-air, then I can free place it anywhere. But given that there is floor, it tries to place the bottom of the blueprint on the floor. So what was the bottom of my blueprint? The bottom of my blueprint was a floor 2 levels lower than it. So were I to go 2 levels down and then build myself an actual subfloor that exists, only the smelter blueprint's going to be this complex. Everything else should be not this terrible. Then, in theory, this is the line that's going to be gone, or replaced with catwalks, I should say, not gone. But then, in theory, my smelter blueprint should now fit here somehow. Can I adjust the height? Because it's like slightly above the floor. Okay, because I built it with the flooring, it's like 1 tile too high. I don't know if they allow things to adjust like this. Can I adjust the height of things? Nudge up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right. That adjusts it in the XY plane, but is there a way to adjust it in the Z plane? Let me get up there and take a look. Put the hologram down, hologram it somewhere where it's actually on a floor, and then go have a look at what it looks like from above. Is it just floating in midair, or is it on the ground? It's on the ground. It's actually fine. This is exactly what we want. We just need to build it into the right spot. Yeah, it works perfectly, exactly as I expected it. It's just trying to like nudge it at the right spot is like killing my life right now. But yeah, basically this is the spot we want it, and then we want it back here. What? I didn't want to nudge it that way. I want to nudge it that way and then back. This is the maximum nudge distance, but is that like the correct overhang? Ah, it's too much overhang. Fantastic. So we should be able to nudge it in a little bit, and we want the machine to be there and the thing to be on the lip. This is exactly where we want our blueprint. This is perfect. So the blueprint is a bit finicky to work with, but it does do exactly what I want it to do. And I might do like a railing around here. So I might just nudge it in like at least 1 tile. Then I can do like a railing here. And that might segregate the factory a little bit better, rather than have machines everywhere. So we can build that, and then bam, that's like 4 smelters done. Whoa, where'd you come from? Get out of my new factory. You don't belong here. And then we can get some catwalks going over here. So we're basically rebuilding all of our factory from scratch again. Hopefully for the last time. Hopefully from now on, every time we need to extend the capabilities of our factory, we can just extend it rather than rebuild it. So bear with me for a couple of episodes while I do this. I might cut out a lot of this process, but yeah, for now, we're just gonna rebuild our factory from scratch, basically. But I think this is all part of the fun of Satisfactory as well, right? Like, doing stuff like this, because, you know, you have to do stuff like this. Now we have a completely new design criteria than we did a while ago, right? So now we can look at our smelters and we can go, how do we saturate a Mark III belt with iron? we need 8. 8 gives us 240, or technically we need 9. So again, building that one extra one is a little bit annoying. So we'll build for 8 and then we'll just overclock 1 to do double. Yeah, we can just put one. Yeah, we'll just overclock the last one. That way we get a fully saturated Mark III belt. So let's try again now. Let's see how easy it is to utilize this blueprint to build an entire smelting floor. So I need to do it from below. Drop the hologram somewhere. Oh, I can't see above. It's the problem. And then it jumps like a lot for some reason. And then I can't see how that lines up with this hologram. Oh, it's so hard to build these blueprints. That is nowhere near what I want. Is this close to what I want? Yep, I think I can nudge this into place. And then that lines up. That line, is that telling me it's like fully lined up? It looks fully lined up. And I can't nudge it anymore this way. Yeah. And then we can just go bam, 4 more. Super easy. And now we have a full array of Mark III smelters. Sorry, a Mark III belt worth of smelters ends here for now. So we'll just seal it off here for now and go, this is the end of our factory. And our factory size is almost perfect for Mark III right now. It's got a little bit of room to grow. And then we'll make sure that we understand that going forward, this section of our factory is to do with smelting. And it's to do with smelting iron specifically, right? And then directly next to it, now we got to look at a second iron belt, because I feel like we need 2 Mark III belts of iron. And we can definitely support it, because if we can support 2 Mark II belts, everything should scale linearly, right? If the iron in my area that's currently being done can support 2 Mark II belts of iron ingot output, once I upgrade these to minor 2s, they should be able to support 2 Mark III belts. So I'm going to build to the specs of 2 Mark III belts. So we need to remove ourselves another section of factory floor, and we need to get down there. So I'm going to build more subflooring. Now we need to put this factory thing in again somehow. Now, if I have more subflooring, does this make it easier to deal with? Like, does it make it easier to drop the blueprint if I actually had more floor there? Because it's snapping to something weird and I don't know what it's snapping to. But basically, I wanted my blueprint to start in this corner and be like this. Yeah, it's snapping to something really weird. I have no idea what it is. But we know how to build it, so we need to bring it out that way and then that way. And then how do I know it's aligned perfectly? I need to look at the edge of this box because that's where the blueprint started. And I don't know if I've done that one the same, so let me get up there and have a look. In theory, I built my factory such that this is the perfect lineup, isn't it? No, that doesn't work that way. That's so weird. Because it's taken the edge of the box at the wrong place, I think, is what it's done. But height is very different to these blueprint machines, because it's like, it aligns it to the height of where I built the blueprint. Oh wait, now the height is in the wrong place. What? Why is this height in the wrong place? That's super weird. Is the second section of my thing on the floor? This is on the floor, right? Yeah, this is fine. Why did this thing not like that? That's super weird. Like, it knows to be at the right height here, but then it doesn't know to be at the right height here, which is really awkward. Okay, this is only going to be a problem with the smelters, isn't it? Ugh, that's going to be super annoying going forward. Yeah, there's no like settings or anything I can do with the blueprint itself. It's a blueprint storage box and then a blueprint designer in which there are no settings for me to edit the actual blueprint. So where is it getting its height from? Because this is the same height as my other blueprint, yet it doesn't like it. What? How is that possible? It's so weird. The height is just too high. Alright, you know, screw it. It's taking me forever to figure out what the heck is going on. Rather than try to figure out what is going on, let's just put the height down 2 tiles worth. And then let's just fix it. Fix the problem rather than whatever, right? If we just put the subfloor down 2 levels, then in theory that should fix all our problems, maybe. And then we'll put everything in and then we'll do the actual subfloor, right? Alright, so I've used my blueprints to set up now 2 sections of iron smelters, and now we need 2 sections of copper smelters, and then we just need to connect all our blueprint bits. Maybe I'll connect all the blueprint bits before I forget how I'm going to do that. So we've got to fix the cabling in here because I must have deleted it in the blueprint. I've since fixed it. So going forward, our smelters will have the correct cables going into the roof. But between each section, we need to connect the cables. We need to connect the belts. And then we need to connect the input belt. So there's 3 things that we need to do to the blueprint to connect 2 sections of blueprint, which is here to here. But I think it's been reasonably easy to use the blueprint. I think I'm just having a headache because this particular blueprint, the input is coming through a subfloor. I think the constructor blueprints will be a lot easier to work with. And I was just tossing up between whether, now that we have 2 full Mark III belts of iron ingot, do we want to build another building for other smelting things, or should we just have a massive smelting floor? And I'm leaning towards massive smelting floor. So if we're going to go massive smelting floor, then we might just build the floor itself manually. Because it's not going to be perfectly 4x4. It's going to be a bespoke size. Or I keep it 4x4 and all my buildings to a 4x4 standard. That way they all kind of align in the final factory. I don't know. There's so many hard decisions to be made. Let's just keep it 4x4 for now. Why not? How do I snap a 4x4 to this existing thing now? Ah, there we go. Where did I put my mouse to get that to happen? Trying to figure it out. Default seems to be easier to work with. Let me put the hologram down. Default seems to be easier build mode for getting like floors and walls down and such. It's still finicky as hell. Is that right? That is aligned. Get it rotated the right way, like here. Yup. That's fine. Let's just get rid of the shared wall. Now this double wall denotes where the room is, so that's fine. I want to get rid of this shared wall because I'm going to build to the specs of this factory, but I might not. I don't know if I want to segregate it the same way. I don't know. There's so many different design elements at play at the moment. I still think blueprinting is easy, but it's definitely not as easy as I thought it would be. Also, I'm out of concrete. Damn it. Hey, what happened to my factory floors here? I think I deleted these. Let's get way more concrete because we're going to need it all. We'll also check in on how our encased concrete is going, because we can start using it to unlock things like hypertubes, and we probably can set up our first hypertube to get from wherever our stuff is being produced over up here, so that we can actually get materials easily and get back up there easily. Save our construction time every time we need to go away from our factory. Our encased concrete machine has stopped working. I can see it's yellow now, so let's see how much encased concrete it's actually made. Encased beams. So it's made 300. Is that enough to do anything with? And also, which material have you run out of? Both concrete and beams. All right, that's fine. Is 300 enough to unlock hypertubes? That's the next useful thing that we need. That power stuff is pretty cool, but I don't think we need it right now. So let's go for an unlock with the hypertubes. Yeah, I only need 50, so fantastic. Let's select that and let's just give it all whatever it wants. 50, we need these, 500 of these, and then 300 pipes. I think we have all that. Give a little break to the blueprinting process, and then, yeah, we'll do this. There we go. Oh, what was that? The heck? I clicked it too many times and went.
Milestone reached. By adding hypertube entrances at both ends of hypertubes, pioneers can achieve two-way travel between locations. They are also error% safer than jump pads. You dreamed of moving across factories like valued resources, such as rocks and water, and Fixit listened to your dreams. We watched them. We took extensive notes. Hypertubes. Because Fixit makes pioneers' closely monitored dreams come true.
Fantastic, Ada. Fantastic. I love it. Alright, it's under transport hypertubes, so we should probably get a new menu going for them. I don't even have a spare menu, do I? These two seem like a very similar menu. Let's use that one for hypertubes. Stackable hypertube support, hypertube entrance. What do we need to make this? Just encased concrete motors and tubes. Fantastic. We have all of these materials. We can set up a hypertube. Let's do it. We need rotors though. So let's grab a bunch of rotors. All right, we pretty much want our hypertube to like get us to around here. So I don't want to set it up into my old factory. Getting me close enough is good enough. So let's get a hypertube. I don't know. Let's raise it a little bit off the ground. And then let's put in a hypertube entrance. That's not a good spot for an entrance. Let's get a hypertube going down onto the floor so I can actually get into it. And then let's put the entrance here. It needs power? Okay, let's put the power thing here. You can just connect it here and let's just see how it works. It's sucking things in. Yep, works exactly as I had pictured it in my head. Now we just need to bring it to somewhere. Well, we need to bring it up. Basically, we need to bring it to where our new factory is. Yeah, and it uses a lot of materials that we already have, which is fantastic. Now, how do we bring it up this rock is the other question. We wanted to do that. I saw a bit of blue. That looks dangerous, but I like it. A very temporary hypertube to get us to our new factory from our old factory, basically. Doesn't need to be pretty, because obviously this is definitely temporary, right? Get it up a bit. And then let's just get it onto the smelting floor over here. There we go. That works out nicely. We need a hypertube entrance on this side too, so we can get back and forth. And this is going to be our new mode of transport everywhere, I think. More efficient than cars. I don't have to drive it. It's automatic. I can just go in and in one place and then out another. That's fantastic. Check that out. Oh my god. That is exactly what I wanted. Works perfectly. And then I can get back if I need materials, and then I need to get back to building. It's a bit slow. Maybe there's like Mark II hypertubes later. But yeah, it's automated, which is great. And it's much simpler than me walking somewhere. Great. All right, let's finish off this smelting factory. You probably don't need to watch me do it on recording, but basically I'm just going to keep using the blueprints. We've got our 2 rows of iron ingots out, and now we need our row of copper ingots, a row of concrete, and a row of probably just 1 row of quartz as well to get glass going, and then we can start building a proper glass factory, right? That sounds fantastic to me. Alright, so I set up a row of smelters for our copper. It's going to be a full Mark III belt of copper, and then I've done like a half belt of probably concrete, right? So that's pretty much it. We'll use our concrete to test. I've added an extra section of the factory, and this is going to be a little bit different. If we need to process things like sulfur and quartz and stuff, we'll probably do it on the same floor as our smelters for the other material, because it's like that first level of processing. Now, we need to sort of seal off the factory and then do some input testing and things like that, and start rebuilding the rest of our factory. Everything kind of needs to happen at the same time, because once I cut off the input, well, actually it doesn't need to happen at the same time. We can build our entire factory first, and then we can hook in the input and the power, and then just, you know, once the input over there stops, then it stops, right? So let's continue designing our factory. Now I'm going to seal off the rest of the factory to make it look like an actual like room. And yeah, then I'll be right back. I've decided while I was setting up the subfloor that we need a new blueprint just for a 4x4 floor that I deleted earlier. I had it before, but if I clear the blueprint and then I load up the 4x4 factory room, then I get rid of these wall parts of it. Then that's pretty much what we want. Just the 4x4 flooring, nothing crazy, nothing interesting. So we'll call this floor 4x4. Now I know my factory subfloor goes across some rock, but don't worry about that. Now, how do I build this properly? That's the other question. Oh man, I wish I didn't have the rocks here. But if I build 2 walls here into the rock, I should be able to correctly place the floor now. Why do I have to do this from the most difficult section of the factory? We know this is the correct part of the factory. So if I build 2 walls down here, and then I just add an extra wall, like say here, then I build a floor attached to this wall over here. I know my floor 4x4 now. If I go to my blueprints, we'll bind that to number 3. Wait, what? Sorry, I want that as 1 and that as 3. So if I bind that to 3, I should be able to snap the floor 4x4 to this thing somehow. That's not nudgeable. All right, I need like more this floor to snap it. So I should be able to snap the floor 4x4 to this thing now. Just put the hologram down and then we'll nudge it into place like that. And then if we build in blueprint mode, hopefully it just aligns. There we go. That's a nice easy way to build a subfloor. Nice. Look how easy that is. We can make massive floorings a lot easier like this. And we know like 1, 2, 3, 4 is a section of the factory. 1, 2, 3, 4 is a section of the factory, etc, etc. And I'm finally out of steel plate. But check it out, because we can just go back very easily via our brand new hypertube. Love it. Everything's progressing along nicely. And look, all that steel we sent off to get deconstructed has all replenished itself now. And there it is. This is our subfloor, right? And again, we don't want to fully wall off the subfloor yet, because I haven't done my window patterns yet. But we do want to do our corner walls. Oh god, this stupid rock. Now I want the entrance to my factory not to be the actual subfloor. This is not the right walling for the subfloor, by the way. The walling for the subfloor goes here and here. This is the edge of the factory. Remember, our factory always needs an extra sort of section. And ignoring the subfloor, because it's a subfloor, this floor is the actual main floor of the factory. And it needs to wrap around our entire factory. And then we can look at doing like entrances and stuff into the factory. Wait, that's already the right tile. This was placeholder. Don't want to do it wrong. And yeah, we want to do something like that. And then we can get the actual ramp to our factory done properly. Which is going to be here. And do we want to use ramps or do we want to use stairs now? We'll put ramps for now, temporarily. Because I still don't know like where our factory is truly going to go and stuff, so. What? It connects perfectly to this section? How did that work out perfectly? That's what happens when you use world foundations, I guess. Use the world grid. Things just like snap together perfectly eventually. So from here, we can get to the subfloor via ladder, which is what I wanted. I'm not going to put a ladder on this side because, like I said, we're going to extend outwards, right? So let's get the subfloor sectioned off, which is here. And I believe it's not this one, but it's this one. Now, the subfloor doesn't need extra flooring. I was just using that for blueprinting purposes. Now, it's very hard for me to tell where the section of the subfloor is supposed to end. I'm just going to build some scaffolding this way. Is that the end of my factory all the way over there? Yeah. So I want that to connect through the ground. And then that's the end of my factory, I think. Like that. And this is like a section, basically. Just want to denote a 16 by 16 section is that. And then I haven't built the blueprint for this section yet, but we can very easily chuck that in before I ran out of materials. Why don't you like this? Oh, I'm out of concrete as well. Oh, Jesus. Concrete is... We really need more concrete ASAP. Wait, concrete isn't done in a smelter. Why did I put a section of 4 smelters? We do need constructors. I just realized. Concrete is done by constructors. It's alright. We'll figure that out in a bit. It will be a concrete pattern is a very similar pattern to our smelter pattern. So it's fine. We basically just need to replace the smelter with a constructor, but change the spacing. So we'll do a special, I guess, raw material constructor thing for this, and we'll remove this section and change it to smelters. This one is still for copper, and these four. We don't need this section, but that's fine. Let's continue with our subfloor first. So that's the edge of the subfloor for that. We might use both these sections for copper then, and then we'll just create a new section for the concrete, like over this side. Or maybe on this side, I don't know. Maybe copper should be the edge of a factory and concrete should be on this side. I have no idea yet. We'll decide that in a bit, but let's just continue finishing off the subfloor. But I think this is the edge of a subfloor. So let's seal it off. Well, we're building it here anyway, so we might as well just keep building the way we are. What I mean by that is, let's leave room for 2 full Mark III belts of copper. Because it feels like we're going to start using more copper now, given the materials for versatile framework. Not versatile framework, but like automated wiring needs like 50 cable per minute. So hey, we might need to extend to 2 full belts of copper. So this 16 by 16 factory is going to deal with steel, and this one's going to deal with copper. So we can have 2 belts of copper one day. Then the next section of factory over here, let me denote the factory bit by putting down the wall, is going to be the constructors for concrete. There and here. And that's the edge of our factory. Let's build the outer border. Why does this feel misaligned? Something feels weird and misaligned now. Is this thing overlapping this thing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What is going on? That's a factory corner. That's a factory corner, is it? Because this is not part of my blueprint because I accidentally deleted it. But that's 3, 4. Then that's a factory corner. And that, there we go. So now we've got a new section of factory ready to go. And this is like, let's finish off the border. The border was confusing me. And this room will be the constructors for the concrete. And in theory, they should function the exact same way as the smelter because they're roughly the same size. But let's just confirm that theory by making a concrete blueprint. By making a constructor blueprint, I mean. Now we've learned our lesson about building on the foundation. We don't want to build on the foundation. So I'm going to do my constructor blueprint, assuming there's no floor. So we'll clear the blueprint designer and we'll make our constructor blueprint. It needs to be on the edge because I need 4 of them and they're barely just going to fit 4. Perfect. It exactly fits 4. Now I'm going to build this to a normal constructor blueprint, not the crazy one that I'm making for the new thing. So it's not going to be built for quartz and concrete. It's going to be built for like regular buildings, right? Regular construction. So let me build a roof. Oh wow, I'm out of concrete again. Building at this scale now, man, we really need just more concrete. All right, that should be fine. Enough roof for us to do all our stuff. So we should just use, should we just use Mark II stuff? I don't know if we should use Mark II stuff or Mark III stuff. Let me quickly take a look. I think nothing at the moment is really that Mark III-ish. So I'm just going to build everything with Mark II lifts for my constructors. And if we face everything in, let's test on 1. Does it look nice? Can we get a nice form factor if we just face everything in, like the input and the output? I think someone gave me that tip. So we'll assume everything comes from one direction. Which way is the input? Do I face this the right way? Yeah, the input's coming from the back and the output's going out the front. That's fine. So then the output needs to be merged. So we want mergers along here. And we want splitters on this side. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. And we can assume the input and the output go in the same direction. Do we want the input and the output to go in the same direction? Yeah, I think so. I think life is easier if we just put all the input and output in the same direction. So let's get our lifts in first for the output. Then let's get our splitters in. Everything's going in this direction. Fantastic. Then let's get our lifts on the other side. Great, now we've got input, output done. Let's get some power into them. And again, we can get the power going like directly upwards now. Is that all lined up? I can't even see properly. Actually, they should all be in the same relative spot because they tile perfectly. So It should be like here. Be a bit careful when we're designing our blueprints because we want everything to be perfect in our blueprints because we're going to be using it over and over and over again. But I think that's it. We've got power, we've got input, output. We just got to get the belts across. Now we'll again build this to Mark III belt specifications because just in case. We've got the steel for it, so why not? Now we'll get rid of the roofs and we don't need the walls either. I assume later they'll give us bigger blueprint boxes and then we can build entire factory sections with the walls and the floors and our process will change a little bit. But for now, I think this is the correct way to do it. So let's save this. We'll call this Constructor 4X. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if we look at the recipes, this is used for both concrete and quartz and silica. So yeah, we might need a separate room for quartz and silica, but we'll see in our factory floor how we can do this. We might use this third room for concrete, quartz, and silica. That could be like a good use for it. We'll see how this tiles in the actual room itself, and we'll decide from there. So here's our room. This is the sort of corner of it where our factory starts. Let me remove a section of floor. And again, we want to build this infinitely tileable so that one day we can extend it out that direction for more construction purposes. So let's build ourselves that blueprint. I'll bind that one to... Oh, I didn't select an icon. Can I edit the icon from here? All right, we'll select that icon, save the blueprint. Select that as number 4. It doesn't like that. Oh, apply changes. There we go. And now we should be able to build the constructor on the actual floor. We're missing cables. That's fine. We can go get more cables. We can now go through our subfloor as well into the hypertube. Bring some concrete as well because I know we're running out of concrete, and our concrete is actually no longer keeping up with our ability to build the factory now because of blueprinting. We can build floors and walls and stuff on a much faster and larger scale, so we definitely need to get concreting up by the end of the episode. So we'll build out our concrete factory right now, and we'll use that concrete factory as a test case to make sure that the rest of our like sort of assumptions and designs will all work out. I hope they all work out because I've already put so much work into this section of the factory. It'd be a shame if I had some fatal design flaw at this point that I can't fix. So yeah, this factory is going to be for copper, and then this factory is going to be for concrete or quartz or both or something. We'll see. We can always shift it back one more tile. Let's see if we can fit 3 constructors there. We probably can, but do we want to is the question. I think we do is the answer. So instead of there, we can do this section as the hole that the stuff comes through. And then we might be able to fit all 3, concrete and the 2 different quartzes along here. Let's give it a go. Yeah, it's so much easier to build this, but then I have to like manually build the downward part of going into the subfloor. So something like that and that. And then I'll manually change that. Let's just see if we can get the rest of it in. So if we remove, can't remove this section, but then if we remove, say, this section, then we build another one like that. And then we can remove another section, and I think we can have a 3rd row of constructors in here. And this will also be like how many constructors we can have on the next floor of the factory where all the constructors are going to go, right? So it kind of helps us anyway. So we can build another one over here. Oh, no, we can't. It's not enough because it sticks out of the factory at that point. All right. Well, that's a bust. So it's only going to fit 2. So we'll have to think about how the quartz works. Whether it needs to, it's going to share a building with the concrete, or whether the concrete is just going to get its own building, or whether we're going to have to do a different design pattern of some sort. I don't know yet. Well, the quartz can kind of actually, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, because the quartz is all the same material coming in, so we can split 2 ways. We might do a bespoke design and it might share the same building as concrete. How do I dismantle the whole blueprint? What I mean by that is, let's fill in this floor again. And then if I build my concrete factory like here, if I put a hologram down, and instead flip it the other way, I can rotate entire blueprints. That's amazing. So then we can shift it so they don't overlap. So there's the concrete coming out there. There's one type of quartz. Oh, but then, see, this is where a flip needs to exist, because then how do I now flip all of this stuff? I have to like manually rebuild this and rotate it. That's super annoying. They really need to put a flip functionality in. But anyway, with flip or no flip, basically that one's going to go there. I'm just going to placeholder it for now, and I'm out of another material. Let me go get it. Ooh, that was close. Let me build the subfloor before I go, so that if I do run out of more stuff, then I can fix that. There we go. There's the subfloor in. Let's get some walls to denote where it changes. So we've built three 16 by 16, sorry, three 8 by 8 factories for 2 belts of iron, 2 belts of copper, a belt of concrete, and a belt of quartz, basically, is what we've done. Let me go get my copper wires, and we will continue the blueprinting placeholder thing. Yeah, our factory scale is definitely increasing like exponentially. But I think this is the last design of our factory. I think once we do this properly, we'll be able to extend in the future without doing a full rebuild. And please tell me in the comments at this point whether what I'm doing is completely dumb and is not going to work in the future. I don't mind the spoilers that much if it's going to be like, hey, have you considered this thing that you haven't thought about that's going to ruin your design and make you have to rebuild the entire factory again? Alright, I am back with more material. So we're going to remove this section of the floor, right? And then they're going to share a belt upwards to the input belt, right? These are the input belt splitters. So, no, yeah, I can do that. No, that's copying the thing. I want the entire blueprint, and we'll just shift it over like this. We won't set this up right now, but we'll just put it at over here so that we know. But yeah, this will work, and we've still got room in our factory, like plenty of room. In fact, we didn't need to shift this all the way out to the left. We would have had plenty of room. So these constructors, like this side might be for this quartz crystal, and then this side could be for like silica, for example. And then they'll just output out, and they'll share an input belt that goes downwards. We need to do the one for concrete because we want to do concrete now. So we'll have to manually rebuild the conveyor lift, but this will work for future constructors that don't have these issues. So we'll build downwards. But the lifts are the easy part. Like still having the wire there is like super handy already. And then we want the input to be a splitter, and it's going to come from that direction. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to go out this way. It actually probably would have been faster for me to do the smelters without the underground input thing, and then actually, yeah, do it myself, because it was so finicky doing the blueprint part of it. But anyway, that should be sweet. Now I just need to get stone or limestone or whatever the material is into there. Let's put the catwalks in, make it look nice and pretty. Fantastic. And there we go. We've got our concrete done. Let's configure the concrete. And now we can put the roof of our factory on and see if the power actually aligns properly. Oh, I can use my 4x4 blueprint for the roof too. Amazing. Glad I made this 4x4 thing. Now we can just start it from like here maybe. See, it's really hard to snap to like a section of thing. Like we really need it to, you need like a starting point like this. And then like, kind of like that. Then you can do the blueprint. I don't know if I'm doing that wrong, but yeah, then I find it a little bit doable. And we have to use default first. Can't even tell if that is correctly aligned to this section. I feel like it's better to just go up there and build it downwards rather than build it from underneath. It does not like being built from underneath. Now it's obviously going to be yellow because it's intersecting with the power infrastructure. So that's fine. Don't let the yellow discourage you. But basically we want it centered. Yeah, it doesn't like it. It doesn't like snapping to anything, but hopefully with the first blueprint down, the rest is a lot easier to do. If I do blueprint mode, maybe. Yeah, the rest is a lot easier. I'm just going to do one section at a time just to make sure it is indeed correct. Don't want to like build the whole thing and then realize it's some fatal flaw. But now we should be able to drop ourselves back down here And we've got ourselves a roof of the factory. Fantastic. Don't worry about this hole in the floor. We'll worry about that when we have to deal with the quartz. We don't even have a way of getting to the quartz at the moment. But basically, yeah, there we go. And now this whole factory, and you might be like, well, isn't that exactly what you have over there? Not quite, because this factory is infinitely extensible out to the left, or out to the south, right? So we'll make sure we're not going to build new sections of factory here, because we know when we get Mark 10 belts, we're going to have, you know, 5 times more smelters going that way, bringing out always 2 full belts of whatever Mark material that we need. And then above it, we're going to have constructors for each section of material. So, yeah. In which case, I feel like we need to bring the constructed material always backwards. I don't know. I have to like think about that for a second. So these constructors, what I mean is these splitters, the input of material should go in and then the output should always go backwards, I think is the way to go, because we're not building our factory infinitely forwards. We're building it upwards. But we'll worry about that next episode. We can always adjust our blueprints. That's not a problem. Let me get the rest of the roof in, and then let me get... well, we won't get the rest of the roof in. The roof here looks perfect. Let's get the concrete working, and then we'll call it the end of the episode. And then we can start building constructors and stuff next episode. That sounds good, because it's taken a long time to get the foundation of this correct. So let's get something working first. So I need to get my concrete settings copied. Did I copy them? Yeah, I did. So we've got concrete done. We need to get the concrete out, which means we need a double wall power here at some point. And we'll connect that to wall power, and then that can connect out to something. I'm sure I have a power system somewhere that we can hook into, but I won't worry about that right now. Right now we need to get limestone. So let's go find limestone. I'd ideally like something over there. 200 meters is perfect. I can just run a thing. So we'll go there. Make sure we have the materials to build our Mark II miner, which we are missing 2 portable miners for, but portable miners is no problem. I don't have to head back to do that. We can just build ourselves an equipment workshop, then build ourselves 2 portable miners. Can head over, find our limestone. I hope it's a good source of limestone. 90 meters, 80 meters, it's right here, so we can test our factory design. Something's coming to kill me. Oh, we can test our rebar gun from last episode as well. Where are you? It's not dead. It's terrible. I might as well whack this thing 3 times. Headshot. Cool. Works the way I thought it would work. Alright. It's a pure limestone source. Fantastic. So that's like 240 limestone, which is more than we ever need. In fact, we could probably use a Mark 1 miner here. So let's put that down. We'll do a Mark 2 miner. Why not? And we'll just get it going out. Let's, someone also told me a cool way of doing this. And since this is going to be permanent, let's get a thing going for this properly. Apparently they said if I do foundations on the floor here, we can build our miner on the foundation directly. Is that a thing? Apparently that's a thing. Don't need this section of foundation, but yeah, that's like a lot cleaner, I suppose. And then we can have a much more organized way of getting it back to base, I guess. But I won't do that for now. This thing can mine at 240 limestone per minute. I don't need that much concrete, I don't think. I only have 4 constructors making concrete, but we'll... I'm just thinking how much iron plate... Okay, I have enough iron plate. Let's just bring a Mark III belt over. Why not? Let me go get more iron plate. I'm not going to remember where the limestone is. It's kind of near my coal. Okay. I've got a lot of steel plate. I'm going to bring all of it so that we can build Mark III belts everywhere. That's how long it's taken me. It's taken me like 2 hours to like set up the start smelting section of our new factory. But yeah, I'm really hoping that's the last time we need to like start our factory from scratch. Well, since it's only 1 miner, we can just directly hook it up into our main power source, which is coming out over this side. Then we can get that going using Mark III belts. In fact, I think I'm gonna put Mark III belts as my main thing now, because I don't think I'm ever going to use Mark 1 belts ever again, right? So we'll do that as number 1, and we will do this as number 3. So now that's a Mark 3 lift and a Mark 3 belt. So let's get this going out as straight as possible. Until we get to our base. Something's shooting at me. I can shoot back now. Oh, it ran away. I guess it's kind of effective for shooting these dudes because they shoot at me and then I can kind of just sidestep and take no damage. Is it dead? No, I got no inventory space. That's fine. Let's keep going. I think I'm going too far. Can't tell where my factory is. It's over here somewhere. I want it to go there, right? Into the subfloor over this side. Let me just double check that. Yeah, I need it to be somewhere around here. So let's just bring it roughly around here and then we'll fix it later. I think I've actually got it pretty much where I want it. Taken up a lot of belts and stuff, but it's fine. Come on. Stop it. I'm trying to build. These guys are a bit easier to just whack. Alright, we brought the limestone. Let's figure out how to get it up. We probably want to get it through directly, not only through the subfloor organization, but like actually through the floor. Or maybe we can get it through the side of the subfloor. I haven't decided yet. Let me figure it out. Oh man, getting up to this section is kind of tricky. We should probably build a thing that goes down from here. That way we can access this side of the factory as well. And this is our first input that we're about to hook into our brand new factory style. So let's see where this lines up to this. Oh man, I need to get rid of this tree. I can't see anything. I bought my chainsaw, didn't I? Good. Damn trees going through my factory. Alright, so these are our concrete constructors. And now we can have a look at where that might come out. And it looks like it's going to come out straight through my ladder. So these ladders need to be rethought as well. But if that's where my constructor bit is, then we probably want it to come through the wall here. So we need one of our wall holes. Now, that's not the right wall hole. That's not the right wall hole. Where is the right wall hole? Well, if it can't be put on the right wall hole, then we might as well just put in a singular wall hole, right? On the edge here. And then we'll just use our belting to fix this. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And then we can just bring it down through here. Just like that. And we just need to connect this and this. Ah, wait, I got it in like nearly the perfect spot. Fantastic. Now, I'm sure once I seal off all the bits and bobs in my factory, everything will look good. But let's just test if everything here is functional. At the moment, I don't have power connected to anything. So let's get a power line somewhere and have that. Well, for now, we'll just follow this conveyor back, I suppose. But eventually, we want to connect the power in a way that makes a lot more sense. But this will be good for now for denoting where my conveyor belt is actually, so I don't mind it. Connect that over to this thing, and then we'll use that to connect into this thing. And now our factory section, that's our new factory section that's making concrete, should have power now. It's all moving. I think it's creating something. I had no doubts. I had no doubts at all. Yeah, fantastic. And then we've got everything making concrete, which is great. But then we got to think about like, where is all this stuff going to output to? If my factory's construction is going to infinitely extend out that away, south, then shouldn't there be like a bunch of stuff over here where storage happens next? And what I mean by that is like the concrete shouldn't go out that way. It should come out this way, right? So we need to amend some of our blueprints to do that. And now that I'm thinking about it, the iron ingots themselves, they shouldn't be going out that way. They should be coming in this way because then we can transport them up for the next stage in the process. Duh. Silly me. Should always put the input and the output opposite directions to one another. So unfortunately, we're going to have to make that edit manually now. But luckily, that's not too bad for the concrete at least. The other set of 300 smelters that I already set up is going to be a little bit more onerous to change, but that's fine. It's all part of the game. So we want it to go that way, that way, that way, and that way. And we want Mark III belts everywhere now. Because we've got the steel to support it, so why not? And then we need it to go out here, which is going to be like not exactly a wall hole, is it? So if it's just going to be one and not lined up, it might as well just be a singular one. That way we don't confuse ourselves. So with this thing coming out here, it makes sense that there needs to be an industrial storage container over here somewhere. We can put it like a little bit out, like halfway, because we need some room for the conveyor lift. Now I just need a conveyor lift to bring that down into here. And maybe we want industrial storage. I don't know. But maybe there's like other storage things later on. So we'll just do normal storage for now, because once again, I don't want too much of anything. Is that okay? And that's straight. Is that straight? I can't tell if that's straight. Get up there. I think that's straight. Oh man, I have to be like on the level to see if it's straight. Yeah, it's definitely straight. All right, cool. So that's pretty much it. Like then all our storage, everything that's being built comes back over here and gets stored against this row, which is fantastic. This is pretty much what we want our factory to work like. And now we've got hundreds and hundreds of concrete going, which is exactly what we need right now, because that's what we're running out of the most. And we've got the structure for our final factory. Now, why is all of these yellow? Idle, because there's not enough limestone. Is it just a saturation issue? Because this needs 45 per minute, and our thing is producing a lot more than that. And these are all Mark III belts, so it should be fine. Limestone is fully backed up all the way over here. Oh, these are Mark I belts, you silly muppet. Upgrade these to Mark III belts, and 45 is okay for a Mark. These better be Mark II lifts. Yeah, these are Mark II lifts, I think. Yeah. So that should be fine. They should all be starting to work full time now. We can put our ladder here. That doesn't get in the way of anything. And yeah, I think that's all going to work out perfectly fine. So I'm happy with that. We've got our concrete going now, and we should be all happy. So we'll leave it there, and we will clean up our factory next episode. We'll put roofs on everything and clean up this entire smelting section. We also need to put in a section for the foundry. I haven't decided where yet, but it's going to follow the same principles as this. I might put the foundry over with the other steel products over there. I know the concrete will need to travel all the way from there to this side, but maybe the foundry section can go over here because it needs to kind of interact with the steel products, and we'll set all that up and enclose all that, and then we can start working on the next levels of our factory, which will also need to be modular and infinitely expandable for all the intermediary products. So if you don't want to miss out on that, don't forget to leave a like and sub, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.